In this video, I'd like to show you how to import your site or identify your site and your city among the DAs, as well as draw your site in GIS so that you can specifically isolate that particular parcel of land and select areas or DAs around it. So to begin with, what I have, it's already all the DAs and the city boundary of the city of Vancouver. As you can see, let me just take away the visual of the DAs and the city boundary. What I have here, it's also the imported map of Google Map in my XYZ tile. And notice that the smaller polygons are the DAs, and the big red boundary is the city of Vancouver. If you look at my Vancouver DA data, let me just zoom in a little bit. If you look at this, right-click, look at the Open Attribute table. I've also already joined the DA polygons with some of the selective DA variables I have already downloaded from QGIS. And so all the data sets are ready. Now it's just a matter of finding my site or importing that site into the layer. So to begin with, go to Google and Google Maps. Then I search for the particular site that I'm working on, let's say 929 West 41st Avenue in Vancouver. It will identify a bubble on your site. If you hover your mouse on it and then right-click your mouse, the first two digits are the latitude and longitude. Longitude is the one in North America. It's a negative number. So right-click and you will see this. And then if you left-click your mouse, it's automatically copied to the clipboard. Once you have done it, open an Excel file. And I have already done it, and label it as your subject site, for example. Then you paste your lat long into the Excel file and label it with a header, latitude and longitude. It might be a text file. In that case, you need to go to data and convert the text to column. And it might be in a delimited file separated by a comma. In my case, I have already done it. So separated by a comma, you will see by a comma, it will automatically separate the lat long into two columns for you. But one thing I want to bring to your attention is sometimes Excel will leave a comma in some of your entries. Make sure you delete it and don't keep the comma. Otherwise, QGIS won't be able to recognize your entry. So save this file in your directory as a comma delimited file somewhere here, CSV, because QGIS can only read CSV file and not the Excel file. Once you have done it, then close that file. Go to QGIS, Layer, Add Layer. Go to Add Delimited Text Layer. In the file name, click that bubble. Find the file and double-click it. Nothing to touch except for here, Geometry Definition. The default normally would give you no geometry. It's only attribute. But this time, when we bring in the lat long, I want it to be recognized as a point in our map. So it does have point coordinates. The X field is the longitude, and the Y field is the latitude. So it's always long lat. The default will be the same projection that the current map it's open at. And in that case, we have the DA file, so which is consistent with what we are currently using. Scrolling down, use spatial index, which just make the process a little faster. And then, so check that box, and here you will see your data right here. And this should be read as decimal double. Add. The default will choose the one that we are using based on Statistics Canada. Say yes and close. and you will see a bubble or dot. It's being added to the map, and your entry it's now in the layer. Let me change the visual of it so that it's bigger for our visualization. See where it is right here. Zoom in, it's right here. Now I want to draw the parcel right here on the map and save it as a separate layer. So go to Layer, Create Layer, and I want to create a new shapefile layer. Give it a file name. Let's say I want to save it as, in my folder, I call it a subject site folder, and let's say I call it site. Leave it as SRE shapefile. Save. Nothing to change, and the projection is the default projection that's currently active in the map. Then the geometry type, I want it to be a polygon because I want to draw a polygon of the file of our subject site. Nothing else to change, and then that's OK. So now you see your site, it's now added to the layer right here. To draw your map, let me zoom in on your subject site on the map. What you do is click that pencil button, which is to edit the map. Once you have done it, some other tools will now become available. And in particular, I want to add a polygon feature. Click this, and you can see your buttons now become available. If you left-click your mouse, it will start drawing as lines on the map as a polygon. So keep tracing your polygon until you are done. Right-click your mouse. It will finish off with your polygon. Just give it an ID. I call it 1. You can call it any number. Okay, so now this is your site. You can right-click it and export it. Save this feature as an SRE file. Now you can give it a name. Let me just call it the site, which is the one that I called it earlier on, and save. Nothing I need to change, and OK. Do you want me to overwrite it? Yes, please. It doesn't like it, but it will have overwritten it. If I click the unclick the edit button, it will ask me whether I want to save, and I will say yes. Let me, for illustration, so I have already saved the site. For illustration, let me remove the layer. So I've removed the layer I created. Now let me go back to the file where I have saved it, right here, and I'm going to import the shapefile. You will see that it's now right on the map. So with this polygon, now we can use it as a center and start to select DAs within certain distance around the subject site that we have drawn. So go to Select Within Distance. Click that. I want to select features from my DA with the DA data by comparing to the feature that I've drawn as my site. Where do I want it to be? Let's say I want it all the polygons or DAs within 500 meters. So you can choose your unit. I want 500 meters around my subject site and choose them from my DA file. Run. Close. Now it doesn't show as clear because I have changed the file boundaries for DA in a very narrow line. As you can see, if I take away the Google map, you will see that the DAs that are within 500 meters around the subject site, it's now highlighted in yellow boundary. So what I do is highlight in my layer browser, highlight the DA layer where I have the boundary for the DA and the DA variables. Right-click that, export. the selected features, because I have selected 500 meters around the subject site. Say, save the selected feature as a SRE shapefile. Let me put it in a folder. Call it, let's say, in subject site, and I want it to be 500 meters around the subject site. So let me call it 500 meters. Save. Nothing needs to change, just say OK. And you can see that these are all the DAs within 500 meters around the subject site. So let me show you Google. So we are talking about this specific highlighted area. And if we look at the properties of the selected areas, which is 500 meters around the subject site. Oh, my apologies. Let's look at the attribute table. These are the DAs, and it contains all the variables that I have included in my original data. We can create thematic map of the 500 meters around the subject site by clicking right-click your 500 meters, properties. In the symbology section, I want to do, let's say, graduated. Using color ramp, let's say I am using dark red. Okay. For the particular value, I want to use average household size. Let's do an equal count quantile of the variables and classify the DAs by different sizes. So dark color would be small size, average household size would be small, and then bright red would be bigger household sizes. Apply. Okay. And you can see this is the characteristics of average household size around your subject site. Now, likewise, now you can select DAs around the subject site within 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers or 5 kilometers around the subject site and start exploring the characteristics in that neighborhood.